Good morning, everyone. I am Hannah S. Pakulanang, and today I am going to introduce to you the introduction of the Chapter 12 Global Warming, Disaster Risk Reduction, and Management Awareness. So first, I'm going to read the learning objectives before proceeding on the next part. First is explain global warming and its causes, effects, and solutions. Number 2, enumerate the government agencies involved in disaster management and their respective roles. And last is express commitment to help calamity victims. So first is we're going to discuss about the global warming. Global warming. Human exploitation of the government leads to the increasing of amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So when we say human exploitation, it is all about the action or fact of treating someone or something unfairly in order to benefit from the work. So it is about taking advantage of something nga makade-benefit ang usa ka person or usa ka thing or usa ka person. So it is about the human exploitation. So mo ni siya ang mga pag-taking advantage or pag-treating unfairly sa usa ka human or sa usa ka tawo sa environment or sa mga tawo sa environment nga. Katong ilahang pag-take advantage is mo to siya ang nag-lead nga mag-increase ang amount sa carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Along with other pollutants, carbon dioxide traps the sun's heat and causes the earth to warm up. So munang dili ta matingala nga permitig ga init or lahi-lahi ang atuang klima karon. It is because of the work mapod sa mga naa sa sulod sa earth. So mo ni siya nga ang along with other pollutants, so makabalo naman gyud taon sa mga pollutants such as air pollutions, air or water pollutions, ang carbon dioxide daw is nakatrap na siya sa sun's temperature sa earth atmosphere. Nga mo na siya nga ang earth ang ato ang kalibutan or ang atong atmosphere is mag-warm siya. It is because of the carbon dioxide nga mo na siya ang matrap sa sun's heat. Okay, as we all know, ang Philippines is located na siya sa Circum-Pacific or Belt or Ring of Fire. Nga kanang sa Ring of Fire is always dyan na siya subject sa natural calamities like typhoons, tornadoes, earthquakes, droughts, and other calamities. Nga makaresult siya loss of life or destruction sa usa ka properties or sa properties anang a certain area nga naigo ana nga mga calamities. So next is climate change. Climate change is the buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, significantly changing the normal or unexpected weather patterns and conditions in specific regions of the earth. So mo ni ang climate change is mo ni siya ang mga build up sa greenhouse gases sa atuang atmosphere nga nakahatag siya nga balimo siya ang rason nga nag-change or ma-change ang normal or expected nga mahimo tanang or ang gi-expect nga weather pattern or condition sa usa ka region sa atoang earth. If a particular region's climate unexpectedly changes from what is ought to be what it should be, there are consequences occur. So pag once ang usa ka region or ang climate sa usa ka region is mag-change siya, is naadyo na siya consequences nga mahitabo, which is katong mahitabo tong mga calamities. So ang mga destructive consequences may not come in instant. Dili siya instant siya maabot, but naay mga effect nga ma-feel jud siya or madako jud siya ang ma-feel or makita jud siya as time goes by, like floods, droughts or pangmaytag droughts, di ba kay kuan man kanang walay tubig or kanang hubas, kapag hubas and extreme weather conditions nga maghinay-hinay siya og ka-evident until nga mahimo siya nga frequent. So, humana na to na discuss ang cause sa global warming. So, of course, na adyo'y effect, diba? If there is a cause, there will always be an effect. So, muto siya ang cause na ang sa atong global warming nga, which is ang human exploitation is muna siya ang makapahatag or pag taking advantage sa atong environment is maka-build up na siya or maka-increase sa carbon dioxide, which is ang carbon dioxide is muna siya ang makapa-heat or maka-warm up sa ato ang environment. So, of course, na jud na effect. So mo ni siya ang effect diri nga. Global warming affects both the natural environment and human life. So, maka-apekto jud siya not only in our human life but also sa natural environment nato. While changes are expected for overall patterns, intensity, and frequencies, it is difficult or impossible to attribute specific events such as Typhoon Ondoy in 2009 to global warming. So, mo ni siya ang effect, ang example sa event, effect nga ang Typhoon Ondoy atong 2009 nga ang kaning effect sa global warming is it is very dangerous jud, diba? Kay nga no, ang kaning puntahay ang global ang mag-effect na siya, which is the typhoon, is dili baya gyud nato ni siya masagang sa atong lawas, but makapangan all we need to do is makapangandam. Pero syempre na dito siya big damage or big effects sa ato ang or big effects sa ato ang environment or sa ato ang life. It is because do you know the principle what you saw you reap? So unsay gitanong sa mga tao diri sa kalibutan, like we are taking advantage too much on the things around us, of course we will face the consequences. We will reap or we will harvest ug unsay mga consequences nga atong nahimo or tungod sa mga effect or sa mga cause nga atong nahimo diri. So there are solutions on global warming. So in order for us to survive is na ay solution sa ato ang global warming. So I am going to pakita it here in the screen. Here are some ways to help minimize global warming. First is purchase energy efficient cars. So magpalit daw og energy efficient cars. Take the bus instead of driving your own car. Support legislative efforts to increase the standards for fuel efficiency in vehicles and to develop alternative fuels. So next is buy more appliances with the Energy Star label. These appliances are developed by a government program to demonstrate a high degree of energy efficiency. Next is replace incandescent light bulbs with compact fluorescents, which use a third to a quarter of the electricity and last 10 times longer. This can significantly cut down on energy bills. Next is employ house weatherization, which requires as little heat and air conditioning as possible. Land housekeeping, like plant trees that cast big shadow, are important as well since they provide cool shade. Next is talk to the community leaders and association boards about planting more trees, building more walkways and bike paths, and providing better public transportation. So it is better dyan nga makipag-cooperate in order for our atmosphere, our environment nga dili jud siya permitting maigo og mga calamities, because it is so hard pag isa ta sa victim or isa ta sa maiguan ang calamity. So it is important nga we should be cooperative, labi na sa atong community leaders nga kung kita human, we are ought to cut trees, then we should also plant trees. Kay katong mga gikat nato nga trees, dili to siya motubo og balik. So it is our duty nga to plant trees, of course, because trees is so essential in our living. So that's it, and thank you so much. So next reporter is ta-da.
A pleasant good morning to you, sir, and to my fellow classmate. I am Lovely Sipancho. I will be reporting the disaster management, natural hazards, and hazard management. A pleasant good morning to you, sir, and to my fellow classmates. My topic for today is all about disaster management, natural hazards, and hazard management. So for today, I will discussing about the disasters. According to Dr. Renato U. Solido Jr., so disaster is characterized by several elements, namely hazard, risk, people or community, and vulnerability. Hazard. So ano nga ba ang disaster or sakuna? So ang disaster o sakuna ay isa itong pangyayari o nagdulot ng malaking pinsala o pagkawala ng buhay, o maaari ito ay natural na kalamidad tulad ng lindol, bagyo, tsunami, o maaari din ito resulta ng mga gawa ng tao like tayo. So ano nga ba ito? Like tulad ng sunog, pagsabog o aksidente. So yun lamang ang mga ibig sabihin ng disaster. So ngayon, ano nga ba ang letter H? So ang letter H, ito ay sumisimbolo sa hazard. And next, hazard or isang amount or isang physical impact of the disturbance, either man-made or tao or yung natural lamang like mga tsunami. O ito ay highlighted by vulnerable amount of risk or letter R to the people and community, or moreover the degree of the vulnerability or letter V of all involved. Further fuels or magnitude of disaster presented in the disaster equation as follows. So makita natin dito yung letter H times R plus V equals disaster. So ang ibig sabihin niyang letter H is hazard, letter R is risk, and letter V is vulnerability. The concept of disaster risk management accepts that some hazard may occur. The impact, however, can be least by improving the community's ability to the impact with minimum damage or destruction. Okay. The disaster risk management cycle is a traditional approach to disaster management in which disaster measures that regarded as a number of phased sequence of the action of a minimum. They aim to reduce the vulnerabilities in the community. To addition, with the sustained over a long period of time, they reduce unacceptable risk to the acceptable level and they make the community disaster resistant or resilient. Okay. Ano nga ba itong disaster management cycle, or isa na itong traditional na paraan na pamamahala ng sakuna na itinuturing o hakbang sa pagtugon ng sakuna bilang isang serye o yugto sa pagkilos ng isang patuloy na proseso. Ang layunin nito ay mabawasan ang kahinaan sa komunidad at kapag pinatili sa habang panahon, or sa madaling salita, ang disaster management cycle ay isa itong binubuo ng mga paghahanda or preparedness, pagtugon or response, pagbawi or recovery, at pagbabawas ng panganib or mitigation. Yan ang mga, or sa madaling salita, yun ang ibig sabihin ng disaster management cycle. The comprehensive risk management process has the potential in break the circle of damage and reconstruction when a community is subjected the repeated natural hazard. It refers to a range of policies, legislative mandates, professional practices, social structure, and non-structure adjustments, and risk transfer mechanism to prevent, reduce, or minimize the effects of the hazard on a community. To be effective, strategy must be in place and ready to immediate implementation when necessary. This can be only done through advanced preparation and planning. So, So there are the following risk management measures. There are 7 types of risk management at i-explain ko ito isa-isa. Number 1, una, engineering measures or keep hazard away from people. So, panatilihin ang mga panganib na malayo sa mga tao. Halimbawa nito ay ang pagtatayo ng dike upang maprotektahan ang mga komunidad mula sa pagbaha o pagtayo ng mga matibay na gusali upang makatagal sa lindol. So, like, ito no, so, sa number 1 is pinapalayo tayo sa panganib ang mga tao. Ang pangalawa or land use planning and management measures keep people away from the hazard. They are the same. So, manatilihin gihapon ang mga panganib na malayo sa atin. Halimbawa nito ay ang pag-iwas ng pagtago ng mga dalisdis ng bundok na madaling magkaroon ng landslide. O, di ba? Kasi yung mga tao doon is doon na tumira. So, halos natin mabalikan natin na ang mga tao ay ganyan na sa landslide ang kanilang mga bahay na sa landslide dahil sa sa bundok. Ikatlo, control and protection hazard ay control and protection works or modify hazards or baguhin ang mga panganib. Halimbawa nito ay ang pag-ayos ng mga ilog upang maiwasan ang pagbaha. O syempre, di ba? Yung mga basura dapat hindi tayo nagtatapon kahit saan para maiwasan talaga ang baha or ang mga panganib na magiging sanhin natin. O ang pagtatayo ng mga fire bricks upang maiwasan ang pagkalat ng sunog. At ang ika-4 naman ay ito ay isang early warning alam na natin, inahulaan na natin ang panganib. Ang halimbawa nito ay ang sistema ng mga pagbabala ng lindol, tsunami at bagyo. So, example na rito is yung meron tayong paparating na bagyo. So, alam na natin dahil sinabihan na tayo ng mga nasa TV, radio, like mga ganon. Ang next ay ikalima. Ikalima ay preparedness planning or prepare the anticipation of hazard or paghahanda pa sa pag-iwasan ng panganib. Halimbawa nito ay ang pagbuo ng plano o sa paglikas ng pagsasanay sa mga tao sa first aid, pagtitipon-tipon ng mga mahalagang supply. So, sa una pa lang is kailangan talaga natin magplano kung saan tayo lilikas kapag tayo ay nasa lantana. Ang ikalawa ay dapat alam natin kung yung mga simpleng gawain like first aid, dapat alam natin yun para ika-safety ng ating pamilya. At ang last ay yung pagtipon-tipon sa mga canned goods. Dapat meron talaga tayong ibalde. O, yun ang tawag sa kanila, ibalde. Yung mga mahalagang bagay is ilalagay talaga doon para hindi yun masama. At yun talaga ang madadala ng mga pamilya natin kapag kalamidad na talaga. Like, magdadala tayo ng flashlight at meron tayong flashlight, mga gamot, kahit mga canned goods na madali lang talaga at makakain talaga tayo ng maayos. At ngayon, ang ika-6 na naman. So, reconstruction planning after the disaster with the aim of reducing to vulnerability or pagpaplano muli. So, magtatayo ng mga pagkatapos ng sakuna, layuning bawasan ang kahinaan. Halimbawa ito ang pagtatago ng mga gusali na may lumalaban na lindol o ang pag-aayos ng mga ilog para maiwasan ang pagbaha. Next, mainstreaming risk management in development practice and institutionalization or ang pagsasama sa mga pamamahala na panganib ng mga kasanayan sa pag-unlad ng institutionalisasyon. O halimbawa nito ay ang alang-alang sa mga panganib sa pagplano ng mga bagong kalsada, tulay o mga paaralan. Next is the disaster management. Ano nga ba ang disaster management? Disaster management is important in dealing with man-made and natural disaster. So like mag-ano talaga siya, nagdi-deal talaga siya sa mga gawa ng tao o sa natural lang talaga. Like gawa ng like mga tsunami. Nasabi ko na yun sa unang discussion. Natural disaster are inevitable or however with the modern technology communities can prepare and minimize the damage to lives and properties. Likewise, man-made disaster can be prevented if the community is more careful and properly oriented on what it do and times and crisis. So, like tayong mga people is alam na talaga natin kapag may mga crisis na darating. Alam na ang mga tao at na-oriented na sila dahil araw-araw naman talaga or hindi man sa araw-araw is nakakaranas talaga tayo ng ganito. So, according to United Nations, there is an increasing number of the people who are affected by disaster all over the world. So, hindi lang talaga tayo dito sa Pilipinas ang nakakaranas ito. Not only the third countries are affected with the disaster, but also, kasali na dito yung mga mayayaman, like richest country in the world. So, in the Philippines is tayo talaga, ang poor communities are ones to suffer the most damage brought about the calamity. So, there are the five reason for this situation. So, number 1 na dito ay ang rapid population growth. So, tayo talaga dito is nagkataas yung mga tao dito. Nagkadami tayo ng mga tao dito. So, ikalawa is concentration of the population is high-risk area like floodplains, landslide, prone slopes, and seismic zones. Number 3, destruction of marshes by real estate developers. Number 4, man-made destruction like deforestation which has led by ecosystem and resilience to disaster. Number 5 is increasing poverty leading to substandard housing like not like a typhoon resistant. Next is the natural hazard or natural hazard are the elements of the physical environment that harmful and caused by the extraneous force. Solidum 2012. It pertains to all atmospheric and hydrologic and geologic, especially the seismic and volcanic and wildfire phenomena that because of their location, severity and frequency have the potential to affect humans and their structures of their activities adversely. The qualifier natural elements such as exclusively man-made and phenomena like war, pollution, and chemical contamination, hazard to the human beings at not necessarily related to the physical environment are the infectious disease. Our natural hazard has an element of the human involvement. A physical event such as a volcanic eruption that does not affect of the human being in the natural phenomenon, but is not considered is a natural hazard. A natural phenomenon that occurs in the populated are in the hazardous event. A hazardous event that causes of unacceptably large number of the fatalities and or the overwhelming properties damage in a natural disaster, like yung mga bagyo. Next and last my topic that is the hazard management. So, ano nga ba yung hazard management? So, ang hazard management, it is a process by which of the government makes plan, which is the consists of the policies, projects, and supportive action to guide economic and social and spatial development over a period of time. These activities are included the processes are the designate to reduce loss of the life and destruction of the property. Natural hazard management has often been conducted independently of the development planning. So, ang natural hazard ay pinoproseso or nagdi-divide ito ng pre-event measures, actions during the immediately following an event and the post-disaster measures in a approximate chronological order. So, meron itong ibig sabihin ng divide ito ng pre-event measures, actions, and post-disaster measures. So, ang ibig sabihin ng hazard management ay isa itong mga plano ng isang gobyerno na about ng mga policy projects para sa ating ekonomiya.
Good day everyone, I am Brian Sensikaran and my topic for today in chapter 12 is disaster mitigation, natural hazard assessment, natural hazard prediction, and also emergency preparedness. So what is disaster mitigation? An accurate and timely prediction of hazardous events saves human lives but does little to reduce economic losses or social disruption. This can only be accomplished by measures taken in advance. Include in the concept of disaster mitigation is the basic assumption that the impact of disaster can be avoided or reduced when they have been anticipated during development planning. Mitigation of disaster usually initial reducing the vulnerability of the elements risk, modifying the hazard prones of the site or changing its function. Planning and zoning, floodplain protection, property acquisition and relocation, or public outreach project. Example of preparedness action are installing disaster warning system, purchasing radio communication equipment, or conducting emergency response training. Flood. To avoid it, you need to be aware about your surrounding. Like if you are area palaging buwawa, ay dapat aware ka para if umulan ng malakas, you know what are you going to do and to keep safe and away from the flood area. Natural hazard assessment. Informed from the analysis of an area's hazard and vulnerability to them is integrated in an analysis of risks, which is an estimate of the probability of expected loss for a given hazardous event. Formal analysis are time-consuming and costly, but available shortcut methods can give adequate result for project evaluation. One takes or assisted planners have the basis for incorporating mitigation measures into the design of investment projects and for comparing project versus no project cost and benefits. To prevent it, so the first steps to preventing potential natural disaster is reducing pollen emissions, avoid using electronic stuff or mga gamit na naay kuryente like TV or refrigerator. Also, para safety ta sa natural hazard and keep away sa mga lugar na doon og landslide because it's necessary to make state more resilient by looking forward and preparing to deal with climate-related risks. From adopting conservation and restoration measure to improving infrastructure is natural hazard prediction. The natural hazard prediction. The prediction of a natural event is a direct outcome of scientific investigation into a cause, and it's aimed at establishing the probability of the next occurrence in the terms of time, place, and range of severity. To predict disasters, some natural disaster can be predicted based on past scientific data. Scientists look for patterns in data to determine where and when natural disaster are moabot or unsa kakusog ang impact ani ug asa ng lugar mo igo. Like tornadoes, other disaster ay hindi pa malalaman kung kailan tatama or dadating, like earthquakes are not yet predictable. Last is emergency preparedness. Emergency preparedness. Solium also emphasizes the two levels of preparedness can be identified: public safety information and hazard awareness planning. The first includes a number of efforts aimed at increasing the amount of information disseminated to the public and promoting cooperation between the public and the authorities in case of an emergency. Public safety information is the prevention of and protection from events that could endanger and the safety and security of the public people from significant danger, injury, or property damage, like if the area maigo og bagyo tungod sa public safety information. People knows what they going to do and where they go if their area is dangerous. Awareness planning reduce loss of life and property by minimizing the impact of disaster. It begins with state, tribal, and local governments identifying natural disaster risks and vulnerabilities that are common in their area, like in Matiwata. If those people died way back February, pag naminaw lang sila sa government na muhawa na dito na area, they didn't die because the government aware them to relocate because of the dangerous area. So, giplanuhan na sila na muhawa dito that is the example of hazard awareness planning. That's all my topic. Thank you po.
Good day everyone, and to you sir.
Today I will discuss the disaster prevention and mitigation. So disaster prevention and mitigation include legislation and regulatory measures principally in the fields of physical and urban planning, public works, and construction drills and shelters for times of disaster are also needed. So the impact of disaster are identification of areas most prone to typhoons and other calamities. So mo ni siya ang lugar nga dali ig-on og kalamidad kining like Japan, China, Taiwan, and also Philippines. So lastly, simply cyclones describe tropical cyclone in the Indian Ocean and the South Pacific Ocean. So display and teaching of structural improvements. So structural improvements means as a building or any others addition or alternation to immovable property that becomes part of or is permanently affixed to immovable property, including a road, driveway, car, park, fence, or wall. 3 is preparation of educational materials. So raising awareness, educational materials should increase public understanding of disaster risk, including potential hazard vulnerabilities at the consequence of inaction. 4 is community involvement and mobilization. So community mobilization is the process of bringing together as many stakeholders as possible to raise people awareness of and demand for a particular program, to assist in the delivery of resources and services, and to strengthen community participation for sustainability and self-reliance. So 5 is media liaison. So media liaison means a communicator who facilitates media relations and communication between the news media and the appropriate spokesperson. So A, principle of disaster preparedness. 1. The risk must be known. So a known risk means that the project manager truly comprehends the consequences that could result in a challenge to overcome. 2 is potential hazard must be identified. So routine hazard housekeeping inspection and audit activities study of information provided by manufacturers and suppliers of equipment and substances, investigation of incidents and accidents. 3 is incidents of hazard occurrence must be calculated. So an incidence rate of injuries and illnesses may be computed from the following formula: number of injuries and illnesses times 200,000 employers' hours work. 4 is secondary risks must be identified. So secondary risks are those risks which arise as a direct outcome of implementing a risk. Simply, you can say that you have identified a risk and created a response plan to manage this risk. However, if you implement this risk response plan, there is a chance of a new risk. B is vulnerability must be known. So 1. Risk must be determined. So the risk determination is based on the impact that would result from an event and the likelihood the event would occur. Monitoring risk factor is the maintenance aspect and includes an ongoing situational use by organization when making a risk-based decision. So likely damage and disruption must be assessed. So to estimate the impact of the storm and floods on physical assets and services delivered in the most affected areas and take stock of the ensuring recovery needs. 3 is human need must be in place. So human being have certain basic needs. We have food, water, air, and shelter to survive. If any one of these basic needs is not met, then humans cannot survive before past employers set off to find new lands and conquer new world. They had to make sure that their basic needs were met. C is mitigation measures must be in place. So 1, required mitigation must be formulated. So mitigation measures are means to prevent, reduce, or control adverse environmental effects of a project. 2 is non-structural mitigation measures must be instituted. So non-structural measures are measures not involving physical construction, which use knowledge, practice, or agreement to reduce disaster risk, and in particular through policies and laws, public awareness, raising training, and education. D is preparedness measures must be in place. 1. All parties should be in state of readiness. All should be in state in readiness of essentially means that everything necessary is prepared and to be used or educated serve for preparedness. Immediately, it implies a sense of preparedness and anticipation, suggesting that something significant is about to happen. 2 is a focal point for preparedness must exist. A focal point acts as a central source of information facilitating clear and timely communication among stakeholders. This is crucial for disseminating warning, sharing updates, and coordinating response activities. 3 is a management system for emergency response must be in place. So response action may include activating the Emergency Operations Center, evacuating threatened population, opening shelters, and providing mass care, emergency rescue, and medical care, firefighting, and urban search and rescue. 4 is plans must exist and planning must occur regularly. So plans are the documentation of planning since things change. Plans need to get updated on a regular basis. Planning is a continuous process that helps us adjust course, keep on track, and make accomplishing goals more likely. 5 is training and practice must be regular. So exercise must be done at regular intervals and be consistent. Consistency allows the body to adapt more efficiently and quickly. Ideally, exercise should be done 3 to 5 times per week. 6 is warning system must be operational at all times. Warning system is any system of biological or technical nature deployed by an individual or a group to inform of a future danger. Its purpose is to enable the deployer of the warning system to prepare for the danger and act accordingly to mitigate and avoid it. 7 is authorities and the public must be fully informed. So an informed public can make informed decisions about their lives, including voting, participating in civic activities, and taking necessary precautions during emergencies. So, land use planning, rest zoning. 1. Service of mountainside, river banks, and coastal areas for their sustainability as housing sites, farming, mining areas, and the like. So, biodiversity, the impact on plant and animal life, including endangered species and unique ecosystems. 2. Rational plans for urban centers showing industrial sites. So, urban planning includes techniques such as predicting population analyzing the park space, surveying the water supply, identifying transportation patterns, recognizing food supply demands, allocating healthcare and social services, and analyzing the impact of land use. 3 is identification of areas for reforestation, forest preservation, and other nature conservation measures. So to jumpstart reforestation in CY 2011, the Aquino administration created a National Greening Program or NGP to regain 1.50 million hectares of forest lands by planting 1.50 billion trees within 6 years to cover the rest of the forest lands. NGP was extended until CY 2028. So building codes. So 4 is building codes regulating height, type of material, and other specification for structure, particularly in rest areas. So when any building or structure is found or declared to be dangerous or ruinous, the building official shall order its refurbishment or demolition depending upon the degree of danger to life, health, or safety.
And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, especially to you sir. The topic that I will discuss today is the topic aligned of the global warming, disaster risk reductions, and awareness. Key players and disaster management. Disaster risk management include administrative decisions and operations activities which involve are prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery, rehabilitations. First, I will short discuss about prevention. What is prevention? Prevention's actions taken to avoid or stop an event or hazard from occurring. It means it's involved proactive measures to stop hazard or disaster from happening, like enforcing safety regulations or environmental protections. Second is mitigation. Mitigation effort to reduce the severity of impact of a potential disaster or hazard. It means it focuses on minimizing the effect of the potential hazard, such as building flood defenses or strengthening infrastructures. Yeah. Third is preparedness. What is preparedness? Preparedness is a planning or organizing resources to effectively respond and to manage emergencies or disaster. It's so sabotable for us. What preparedness is ensures readiness through planning, training, and stockpiling resources to respond effectively in case of an emergency. Yeah. Fourth is response. Response is immediate actions taken during or after disaster to address the situations and provide relief. Encompasses immediate actions like rescue operation, medical aid, and sheltering to manage the impact of a disaster. Fifth is recovery. Long-term effort to restore and rebuild communities or system after a disaster. It means it aims at helping community bounce back from disasters by restoring normalcies through reconstructions and supporting services. The last is rehabilitations. The process of repairing and restoring affected areas, infrastructure, and livelihood to pre-disaster conditions. Disaster management involves all levels of a government, local and national. Non-governmental and community-based organizations also play a vital role in the process. During disaster, the local communities themselves are the first to give aid. It means disaster management involves of coordinations between government agencies at all levels, local and national, along with non-governmental and community-based organizations. This group worked together to plan response and recovered from disaster. Local communities often play a key role as they are typically the first to provide assistance before external help arrives. Role of government agencies. During calamity operations, the National Disaster Risk Reductions and Management Council, or NDRRMC, makes available all facilities and the expertise relative to the effective implementations of the missions. Likewise, the OCD prefers the national or regional disaster and calamity preparedness plan into accordance with the approved disaster and calamity guidelines. The members and tasks of the NDRRMC are the follows. First, the chairman convenes the council as often as necessary and calls on all other departments, bureaus, agencies, instrumentalities of a government, and the private sector for assistance when the need arises. Second, the OCD administrator coordinates the activities and functions of the various agencies and instrumentalities of the governments, private institutions, and civic organizations to implement the facilities and programs of the NDRRMC, disseminates materials relatives to disaster preventions, control, and mitigations, and advises the chairman on matters concerning disaster management. Third, the DILG Secretary oversees the organizations of DCCS, the establishment of disaster operations centers of all local governments, and the training of DCC members is coordinated with OCD, DSWD, PNRC, and others appropriate agencies. Fourth, the DSWD Secretary extends relief assistance and social services to the victims as necessary. Fifth, the DOH Secretary provides health services during emergencies and necessary and organizes reactions teams and hospitals, clinics, and sanitary and other health institutions. 6. The NIDA Director General determines and analyzes the effects of disaster and calamities on the socio-economic plans and programs of the country and develops a damage assessment scheme. 7. The DOLE Secretary provides emergency employment opportunities to disaster victims, implements the Industrial Civil Defense Program and measures and organize and trains disaster control groups in all factories and in industrial complexes. 8. The DepEd Secretary provides assistance and the public education and campaign regarding disaster preparedness, preventions, and mitigations, makes available school building as evacuation center, and organize and train disaster control group and reactions teams in all school and institutions of learning. 9. The DTI Secretary maintains the normal levels of prices of commodities during emergencies and organize disaster control groups and reactions teams and tall or big buildings used for commercials and recreational purposes. Then, the DE Secretary undertakes survey and disaster areas to determine the extent of damage of agriculture crops, livestock, and fisheries, and renders technical assistance to disaster victims whose crops or livestock have been destroyed. And there are many members and tasks of the NDRRMC, but I won't list them all because there are so many. Contribution in disaster management. All able-bodied young citizens should involve themselves in civic actions in the community where they live and should be ready to render assistance anywhere and anytime their services are needed. It means all able-bodied young citizens should be actively participate in civic activities within their community and be prepared to offer help whether their services are needed. This promotes community engagements and readiness to assist in various situations. More than anything else, it is the moral obligations of all to assist their countrymen who are in distress. In this time of natural calamities or man-made disasters, the youth should be willing and ready to extend direct assistance to calamity victims through the following activities. First, sorting, loading, and distributions of relief goods. Organizing, packaging, and delivering aid to those in need during a disaster. In our term, it's ration. Yeah. Second is administering first aid treatment to victims, providing immediate medical care to someone injured individuals or Third, comforting and assisting in the rehabilitations of evacuees, offering emotional support and helping displaced people recover and rebuild their lives. Fourth, disseminating information to concerned individuals, sharing it means sharing important updates and instructions with those affected or involved in the disaster response. Fifth, surveying of affected families and areas, assisting the damage and identifying who needs help and disaster striking locations. 6. Monitoring and liaising work. It means keeping track of the situations and coordinating between different groups involved in the disaster response. Youth development agencies should be established coordinations and linkage to be set up before, during, and after every disaster. By using the NDRRMC operational model, the youth development agencies should it means youth development agencies should work together with other organizations before, during, and after disaster by the following NDRRMC's system. They can help with disaster planning, response, recovery more effectively, and according of the is blah blah truth. First, plant disaster management activities before a calamity strike. They should join or participate in training exercises and disaster relief operations. It means prepared for disaster by creating plans and taking part in training for disaster responses and relief works. Second, see to it that the available resources could meet the needs of chosen activities. It means make sure there are enough supplies and tools to carry out the planned activities. The third one is coordinate all activities properly with the city, provincial, and municipal disaster coordinating councils. It means work closely with city, provincials, and municipal disaster group to ensure everything runs smoothly. Fourth, organize the group. They should assign responsibilities which the members can handle properly, confident, and what they do is the key to success. It means assign tasks to group members based on their skills and they make everyone is confident in their role. Of were you comfortable? Something blah blah blah. Fifth, work as a team. They should coordinate efforts with other public and private organizations. It's a collaborate with others, public and private organization to achieve better result as a team. And that's all. Thank you.